Hey, welcome to the Strong Roots podcast. My name is Kristen Hill, and we are so excited that you're tuning in today. Our prayer is that you would move one step closer to Jesus through this series. So go ahead and check out this next episode. Hey, Strong Roots. I'm with one of my favorite podcast people, Rick Hill, my father-in-law. And I'm so grateful that he is going to share his wisdom yet again with us. Today we are talking about how to apply our values. And he has done such a great job of not only raising sons who love the Lord, but I have the privilege of living with you and I see you apply your values every day. So couldn't be more excited to interview you today. And I'm going to just jump right to it, okay, Rick?
Okay, let's get at it.
Yes. So, Rick, what's the most important factor in making decisions?
Well, Kristen, you know me pretty well, and you know I don't like superlatives.
Yes.
There's a lot of factors in making decisions, and picking one that's the most, I'm usually uncomfortable with. But in this case, I'm very comfortable with picking the most important factor. And so you need to ask yourself, what is God's purpose? What does God want to accomplish on this earth?
Mm-hmm.
What's his divine will? And that answer's the same for everyone.
Yeah.
And so after you ask that question, then you need to ask, what's my role in accomplishing God's purpose on earth? And the answer to that, of course, is different for everyone.
Right.
And then once you understand your role in accomplishing God's purpose, then for each decision you have to make, you say, well, how will this decision affect my ability to fulfill my role?
Absolutely. And so what is God's purpose in the world, Rick? And what is his divine will?
Well, his will, God's purpose, is defined in the Bible. And the Bible's such an amazing book. It's a collection of 66 different books written by 40 different authors over a period of 1,500 years.
Yeah.
That's, if you think about that, think about if something started 1,500 years ago and people collected various writings over that time, how would they be related? And this all started 3,500 years ago.
Right.
And so this is a long time ago, and yet it's God's will. God put it all together, and he has one main theme throughout the Bible, and that's his plan to bless all the nations of the earth. And so it starts in Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve sin, and so mankind needs redemption. And then in Genesis chapter 12, God reveals his method, his plan to bless all the nations. And he makes a promise to Abraham that Abraham will be blessed and he'll become a great nation with innumerable descendants. And then why would God bless Abraham like that? He goes on to say, so that all of the families of the earth can be blessed through you. And so that's the main theme of the Bible, is that being fulfilled. The Old Testament is the story of the nation of Israel being born and growing into a big, powerful Jewish nation, the Jewish people. And then we get up to the New Testament. Jesus comes, he's crucified, and then he's resurrected, and he ascends into heaven. But all the peoples of the earth are not blessed through that, because they're not blessed until they hear about Jesus. If they've never heard of Jesus, then they're not blessed.
Right.
And so the rest of the New Testament is about the disciples taking that gospel and taking it around to all the nations. Well, not all the nations. They take it around to as far as they can go.
Right.
But it continues on after the New Testament is done being written. All four of the Gospels and the book of Acts, Jesus makes these statements between his resurrection. He's crucified and then is resurrected, and he's got a few weeks on earth, and he's got people's attention, because when you die and you're resurrected, people pay attention. Okay?
Right.
And so what does Jesus talk about then? In these 5 different places, he keeps talking about the Great Commission, what we call the Great Commission. And he says, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel. Go and make disciples of every nation. You shall be my witnesses to the ends of the earth. As the Father has sent me, even so I send you.
Right.
So this is what Jesus wants us to be doing, is helping to bless all nations, to fulfill that promise to Abraham. And then we see in Revelation, at the end of the New Testament, now this is a book of the future, and in chapter 7, it says, there were men from every tribe and nation and people and language standing before the throne, surrounded by angels in white robes, waving palm branches and singing out. It's just a beautiful picture.
Right.
But that's the future. It hasn't happened yet. And so in just before he was crucified, Jesus says in Matthew 24:14, he says, this gospel of the kingdom will be preached as a testimony to all nations. And then what happens? Then the end will come. Christ will return. Mm-hmm. And so that's exciting. That's the fulfillment of God's promise. And it ties, the whole Bible is tied together in telling us this story. And so if you're working toward that goal of getting the gospel preached to all nations, then you are hurrying up the day that Christ will return. Yes. What could be more exciting and purpose-filled than that? And so what's your part in accomplishing that goal? Is it to become a missionary? That's the obvious thing. Go and make disciples of all nations. We should all be missionaries, but we're all different parts of the body.
Right.
And so it might be to give money to support missionaries, or pray for them, or train them, or encourage them in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. Or you could be strengthening the local church in any of dozens of different ways so that it can fulfill its role in raising and sending missionaries. But whatever your role is, every other decision in your life should be made by asking, what will this allow me to better fulfill my role in accomplishing God's purpose of blessing all nations? So that's the most important factor in making decisions.
And you've lived this out. I think it's one thing to preach it, but you do a really good job at you really thinking all the decisions you make, is this going to advance the kingdom of God? Is this going to advance the Great Commission? I mean, John has shared to the church, but even when he was a child, you guys have always been very purpose-filled with this, and you still are. Has it been easy, or has it been hard?
It's been remarkably easy. God has been good to me, and the only hard thing is coming up with something that would be hard in this life. God blesses in so many ways. Yeah. And so, He
has blessed you.
He has. It took me a bunch of different career paths in my early life to focus in on what is my role. Mm-hmm. At first I was in the Air Force when I became a Christian. And so I decided, I quickly decided, well, that's not my role to fulfill this plan. So I got out of the Air Force and took up a business career because my dad had been in business. And so I was doing that. And then God called me to quit business because what's the point? And I went and raised support to go to a mission agency. Yeah. And as the day I arrived there, I met Satoko, and 3 weeks later we were engaged. So that's a couple of big decisions right together. That was kind of cool. And so now I'm working in a mission agency to help them bless the nations. But then God revealed to me that my personality, my desires, my role was to go back into business in order to send missionaries, to make money so that I can send missionaries. And for the last 36 years, that's what I've done. And I've just been content and happy and blessed in that role. Absolutely. And that's where I'm continuing on. And I'll be able to do it, hopefully, for a lot of time to come.
Absolutely. So how do you make God-pleasing decisions instead of people-pleasing decisions?
I think you need to know the scriptures and understand your role. God wants us to love other people, but we shouldn't be making decisions to please them. We need to, if it's not a good decision to fulfill your role, then, or to help them fulfill their role, in furthering God's plan, you shouldn't do it. And you shouldn't make a decision to earn people's praise. If
Right.
people pleasing means having them think highly of me, God doesn't want that.
Right.
He says, even if it's a good thing you're deciding to do, if you do it with the wrong motivation, God says pray and give, but he says don't pray
Yeah.
in front of other people to earn their praise. Don't give in front of other people to earn their praise.
Right.
And so good decisions are bad decisions if they're for the wrong motivation. And so don't try to please other people.
Absolutely.
Please God.
Absolutely. So, what are treasures in heaven, Rick, and how do our decisions now affect our eternal life?
Well, I think just the name treasures in heaven implies that there's things beyond salvation. Christians often think, oh, you're saved, you're going to heaven, or you're not saved, you're going to hell, and that's spirituality. But if you can store up treasures for your in heaven, there's things beyond just being saved. And so we need to try and save up treasures in heaven. Jesus said to the rich young ruler, one thing you lack, sell your possessions, give to the poor, then you will have treasures in heaven. And Paul said something similarly in Timothy 6, command the rich to do good, be rich in good deeds, to be generous and willing to share. In this way they will lay up treasure for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age. And so these verses imply that you can convert your earthly treasures into heavenly ones. You can't take it with you,
Right.
but you can send it on ahead. So that's kind of cool.
That is.
And Jesus said, don't store up treasures on earth, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. And he went on to give us the reason why, because for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And so treasures in heaven affects you here on earth because it changes your heart. What are you passionate about?
Right.
And your passion doesn't drive where your treasure goes. Your treasure drives where your passions go. And so if you want to have your heart be passionate about what God's passionate about, put your time and your money, your treasures there, and your heart will follow along in that area.
Have you seen that in your own life?
Oh,
True?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. And you can see it in so many ways. Picture a homeowner and a renter living side by side. Who takes better care of the house? The one with the treasure invested in their house.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so true. So, Rick, I'm going to ask you a final question, okay?
Okay.
And you're so good at this, so I'm curious how you're going to answer this. What is the easiest thing in your experience to get distracted by? What gets you off mission if something does?
The thing that gets me distracted is too much of a good thing.
Really?
My role in God's plan is to make money and send missionaries. But I could work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week at that.
Yeah.
And I'd burn out. It wouldn't be a good thing.
Right.
And so I need time with family. I need to exercise. I need time in the Word. I need time to relax, sit by the lake, be by myself. Those are all good things.
Yeah.
But if it's easy to get passionate about any one of those things and get it out of balance. And so being balanced is really important. And it's too much of a good thing is not a good thing.
Yes, it's so true. I would agree with that. So I'm going to turn it over to you now. Do you have any questions you want to ask me?
I do. I've been living with you and watching your life, and 7 months ago you became campus director when Hebron opened up, and actually for a year before that you were campus director planning for that opening. How has that changed your life?
That's a good question. I think it's changed my life a ton. But I think the way it's changed my life the most, in a positive, I guess you could go either way, positive or negative, but I think in a positive way, I think I've led life groups. I've led women's ministry. I have led things. I've led Strong Roots podcast. but I've never helped lead a church before, and I've never led staff before. And I think that has been a huge transition, because not only is it a different role, but I think that in having to step up and lead staff has helped me see that as a parent, I'm called to lead as well. I think the first couple months I was really intentional, and I'm gonna try to be the best leader of these staff and people. And then I'd come home and kind of fling that hat off and be like, all right, like, just listen to me. Why? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I felt very convicted that God was like, where your treasures or your heart will be. Why are you so passionate about leading people in your office hours, but then as soon as you step at your house, you stop leading? And I feel like that has changed me the most in the positive, where I feel like I am more intentional with my kids and with John than I ever have been before because of this role.
Wow, that's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's neat. Do I get another question?
Yes, you do.
All right. Well, you were doing Strong Roots podcasts from long before you were campus director, but they must take a lot of time to come up with topics and questions for the guests, and finding guests that are willing to do it.
Yes,
some
true.
of your guests are not so willing, Yeah.
That's true.
Does that provide a lot of stress for you? I know it would for me.
I have a lot of help. And I think I have somebody who helps. I love working with people. Surprise! So I have a friend who, it was her brain baby. Like, I have a really close friend who, she loves sisterhood. She helps me a lot with our women's ministry. And she was like, I think you should do a podcast to help disciple all of these people. And I said, great, help me with it. And so she has really partnered with me. We kind of brainstorm topics. She truly comes up with most of the questions with me, for me. And she has been such a huge help. And then I also have Annie helps with emailing people. So I do still reach out to people asking them, but I feel like God has been good, because I feel like the position that I am, I know a lot of awesome people at this church, and I'm learning constantly from so many people in this church. So it's really a lot of times easy for me to think, oh, I'd love to interview him for his values. Like, I'd love to interview them on how they share their faith. And I feel like I am blessed by this. I feel like yes, everyone who is listening, I hope that we are discipling this generation and many generations, but ultimately God is blessing me, because I am learning so much from everyone I get to interview. So I feel like, to answer your question, I made it really long, is this has not been very much of a burden, because I feel like it is one of those things that I really treasure doing.
That's wonderful. God makes us all different, and so I wouldn't be comfortable with it. You are. That's great.
Thank you, Rick. And thank you so much for doing this again. I hope you continue to do this. Every time every time I ask him to do this, it's never a yes right away. I'm feeling like one of these days he's going to be like, absolutely, but he always has to look at the questions and pray. And so I'm grateful for every time you let me interview you.
You got to come up with questions that I feel I can answer.
I'll get my girl on that. So, but thank you so much. I really hope and pray that as you were listening, you thought of a tangible way that you could partner with the Great Commission and start living that out in your everyday life. Thank you for tuning in, and we cannot wait to catch you next time. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow us on our other social media platforms. We don't want you to miss out on any future content. Thank you so much again, guys. I hope you have a great day. And I want you to know I am personally praying that your roots stay strong.